There's a certain kind of person who's always trying to take care of others. They put other people's needs at the center of their world and do everything they can to make others happy. Yet they feel embarrassed to express what they really want for themselves. They come across as gentle, understanding, always saying things like, "It's fine," or "I can handle it." But what you don't realize is that their gentleness is often a mask, and their maturity was something they were forced to learn. This is what psychology calls a typical people pleaser. Deep inside, they carry this deep-seated belief: if I'm good enough, people won't leave me. Does that sound familiar? Always worrying about everyone's feelings except your own? When someone asks you for help, even if you don't want to, you can't seem to say no. Sometimes you're so hurt you could cry, but you still smile and say, "It's okay, I don't mind." You're always tiptoeing around, reading the room, terrified of making someone unhappy. Your first instinct is always to understand and forgive others, but you rarely ever listen to your own needs. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're so scared of being disliked. You crave acceptance more than anything. Psychology tells us that being a people pleaser isn't about kindness, it's about fear. Psychologist Hollander pointed out that the core of people pleasing is a conditional sense of self-worth. In other words, you believe you're only valuable when you're liked or needed. It's not just having a good temper, it's a survival strategy, sacrificing yourself to feel safe. This habit usually starts in childhood. Maybe you were praised for being obedient, being the good kid. But when you showed anger or sadness, you might have been criticized, ignored, or even punished. Over time, you learned, if I behave well, I'll be loved. As a result, you grew up afraid to show anger, afraid to ask for things, and got used to constantly apologizing. It's not that you don't want to say no, you just don't dare to. Now let's talk about 3 common types of people pleasers. First, the cognitive pleaser. These people chase perfection. If something isn't done perfectly, they beat themselves up. Even when they're upset, they'll bottle it up instead of sharing it. They believe if others are unhappy, it must be their fault. They think they have to be flawless and meet everyone's expectations to be worthy of love. They hold themselves to impossible standards and don't allow themselves to make mistakes or show anger. This mindset often stems from growing up in a high-control family where love felt conditional. Second, the addictive pleaser. These people are addicted to approval. Their self-worth depends entirely on external validation. When they don't get praised, they fall into deep anxiety and emptiness. Psychologists call this emotional reward addiction, like a lab mouse pressing a lever for a treat. Every compliment feels like a candy that temporarily proves I'm worthy. But because not every act of pleasing gets rewarded, they start trying to please even more people, losing touch with their true selves and neglecting those closest to them. Third, the avoidant pleaser. These people are experts at avoiding conflict. They hide their real feelings because they're scared of being disliked or rejected. In their minds, they're always thinking, I can't upset anyone, or I'll be punished. They don't necessarily crave love, they fear abandonment. Even in the closest relationships, they're too afraid to show any dissatisfaction. No matter how much it hurts inside, they'll smile and say, I'm fine. This pattern usually stems from emotional abuse, shame-based upbringing, or emotional neglect. The biggest tragedy for people pleasers is that you're always taking care of everyone else, but no one's really taking care of you. The more harmless you seem, the more you get ignored. You think backing down will earn you respect, but all you get in return is being taken for granted. In other people's eyes, if you don't say you're tired, you must not be tired. If you don't say no, you must be okay with it. But deep down you know, every time you force a smile, every time you swallow your hurt, you're pushing yourself closer to a breaking point. So how do you break free from being a people pleaser? Here are 4 practical tips. First, stop judging yourself with, I should. You're not obligated to manage everyone's emotions or to make everyone happy. Every time you say, I should perform well, you're putting invisible chains on yourself. Try changing I must to I choose to. Turn I can't say no into I'll think about it. Second, practice saying no, gently. You don't have to be harsh right away. Start by delaying your responses. Try saying, let me think about it and get back to you. Or, I'm a bit overwhelmed right now. I might not be able to handle this. Setting boundaries isn't being cold, it's being healthy. People who truly love you won't leave just because you say no once. Third, learn to enjoy being alone and make yourself happy. You can make a list of 10 things you genuinely want to do, just for you, not for anyone else. Watch a movie by yourself. Buy yourself flowers. Even just sitting and doing nothing counts. You'll realize you can actually heal yourself without relying on others. Lastly, build the belief that you're already enough. You don't need to prove your worth through achievements or approval. You deserve love not because you're perfect, but simply because you exist. If you spend all your time pleasing the world, but end up betraying yourself, that's not kindness. That's self-punishment. Being a people pleaser isn't a crime. It was the survival strategy you learned when you weren't properly loved. But please remember, you don't have to be the good one all the time to be loved. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to not have it all together. You deserve a life where you can just be without constantly pleasing anyone. You don't need everyone to like you. You just need to learn to love yourself first, and you are already enough. Starting now, it's your turn to take care of yourself.